It is our grandson's birthday. Show yourself for me, please, Anthony. It is Anthony's birthday, and today he is 13 years old. And we will pray today for Anthony to be blessed. In fact, let's begin the prayers now. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasuva Yad Bhadram Tanna Asuva. O God, today one of our children, our grandchildren, Anthony, is celebrating his birthday along with his mom. It's his mom's birthday today. And Anthony is 13 years old. And we ask that you shower your blessings on this wonderful child, that he continue to grow and get good academic grades at school, and also be a very obedient and loving and respectful child to his mom and dad, and also a responsive student at Maharshi Dayanand Gurukul. May his three siblings watch over him, he being the youngest, watch over him and protect him. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, namaste, everybody. We will not get 100 people today, I believe, because quite a few people called me and said there's a lot of load shedding in their respective countries. I wouldn't call the name of the country, but there's a lot of load shedding, meaning there's a loss of electricity and they cannot come on. We quite understand. I see we have another 2 minutes more. We have another 2 minutes more to go, and we will wait because I have something. I have one more caller say I wouldn't be able to come to class. Yes.
Namaste, Guruji.
Bahin Meena, I'm sad to say that one of us here, one in our class, Bahin Meena, her mother-in-law passed. If I'm not mistaken, Meena Behin is the daughter of Pandit Lalji, if I'm not mistaken. And Pandit Lalji's Samadhin has passed. And we will now chant a prayer. Meena, if you're there, I don't think she's here. She's taking care of
I
the...
am. I
You are.
am. I
You
am
are. Okay,
Pandit.
very
Thank you.
good. Yes. Can you clasp your palms, everybody? And we will chant a prayer. Om ye yudhyante pradhaneshu shuraso ye tanutyajaha ye va sahasra dakshinas tanschidevapi gacchatat. Om vayuranilamamritam bhasmantam shariram. Om krato smara klive smara kritam smara swaha. I, Meena, join with everyone else in our extended family, and we ask that the soul of my mother-in-law, she's like mother to me, that she be reborn among those high-calibered souls who always struggle for a survival of values, dharmic values, and while struggling for such values, they may be ready to surrender their body and even their material possessions. Oh, mommy, I, Meena, your daughter-in-law, ask you, now that your soul has exited your body, for you to think of the name of God, Om, or any other name. And as you think of God's name, Mom, may you be blessed with courage in your reincarnating travels. And Mom, may you remember all the good that you did for all of us. Today, I, your daughter-in-law, I think so much of you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste, everybody. We have 98 people with us. We have 99. Let me wait for one more to come. But
Thank
we
you,
wouldn't
Pandit.
have. Thank you very much, Meena. Thank you. All right. We have one more to go. I think we will end up with 100 people. The 100. There we have 100. Now, brothers and sisters, let me share the screen. I'm saying that today's session 9, we will cross our halfway mark next week. And in New York, today is Friday, June the 4th. And we are saying that last Friday, we studied the Garbhadhan Sanskar. We even had a peep into what Sanskar means. I do hope that you have been receiving your videos and your scripted notes that you can listen and you can study and you can be better informed, because when you hear it for the first time, you don't process all the information, and also you don't remember everything. But when you get the notes, you can think and think and think, and you can study and study and study, and you can process and process and process, and you'll end up more informed. Today, we study the next two sanskaras, the second and the third one. And the second one is called the Punsavan. And the third one is called, listen to this, Si Man Ton Nayan. Pronounced together, Si Man Ton Nayan Sanskar. Watch me if you can. Mal, can you see me? Yes, no?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay. Let me put my volume a little higher because last week some people couldn't hear me. Deed, are you hearing me well?
Yes, very well.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Now watch me, everybody. Watch me. This is where the child has been conceived. Watch me if you can see me. I have to put my hands a little bit closer. I can be within the purview of the camera. Watch me. This is where the child has been conceived, and this is when the child will be born. Now, at two other times, here and here, there'll be the second sanskar and there'll be the third sanskar. And by the time the person's body is cremated way down the line, there are 16 such sanskars. And what is it that we want to say? Every time there's a major change in the evolving lifespan of the soul reincarnated in this new body, every time there's a major change, there is a sanskar performed. Now, at the end of the second, beginning of the third month, what happens there? Watch me, everybody. The possibility for miscarriage strongly exists. The possibility for miscarriage strongly exists. And so at that time, end of second, beginning of third, or thereabouts, you perform this sanskar, but it is not only prayers. Look at me. The husband prepares herbal tonics. Now, I'm not an expert in this, so correct me if I'm wrong, to strengthen the placenta to which that unicell is already attached. I believe from my research, I may be wrong, I believe miscarriage means when that unicell falls off the placenta. And that's accompanied by a lot of bleeding. I'm sorry I'm using these terms, but I have to explain the scientific basis of the Punsavan Sanskar. So that happens at the end of the second, beginning of third. Now at the other Sanskar, the third Sanskar, happens at three times. And you will hear what the three times are. But one of the times when it happens, it is when all the fingers and the toes and the ears and the skull and everything is formed. Not fully formed, but formed. At that time, the last thing to be formed and designed is the mind of the child. And that being a major point in the evolution of the fetal body, at that time too, the third sanskar is performed. This one is a body sanskar. This one is a mind sanskar. This first one is a conception sanskar. Conception, strengthening the body, and focusing in the mind. And then we go straight to the fourth sanskar, which we will do next week. And it's called the birth rites that we call the Jat Karma sanskar. Now, before the birth of the child, these three sanskaras are called before birth sanskaras. Good English, prenatal sanskara. So they're prenatal, they're postnatal, there are educational sanskaras, and so it goes on and on and on. Just for you to know, in case you may not know, Rishi Dayanand Saraswati said, in fact, let me tell you something. There were two revolutionaries in the 19th century, one living in Europe and one living in India. And both of them conceived of revolutions. The one in Europe, his name was, what was his name? Karl Marx. Karl Marx conceived of an economic slash, a political slash economic revolution. No religion, no God. Religion is the opium of the masses. He was influenced by the excesses of the Roman Catholic Church. And he said, religion is false and religion is the opium of the masses. It sedates you. Religion sedates you and takes you away from reality. And so he conceived of a political revolution, communism, with economic implications, social change implications. Wasn't a bad thing, was a good thing, but there was no place for God, religion, and all of that. Dayanand Saraswati, living in India, conceived of a spiritual revolution, all the place for God and godliness, but at the same time talked of politics, economics, and social change. His revolution was a spiritual slash religious revolution. But within the parameters of that religion, there was place for economics, social economics, and other forms of economics, national economics, but also politics. And politics for him was not a dirty game. Politics for the Rishi was not a dirty game, as you and I say, oh, we're not going to have place for politics here. Politics, in his understanding, was not a dirty game. Politics is a science of government. And from that perspective, Karl Marx wrote the Manifesto of the Communist Party, and Dayanand Saraswati wrote the Satyat Prakash. Communism has collapsed worldwide. The Arya Samaj, though somewhat weak, is still alive, but weak, because of a loss of people not educated in the manifesto of the Arya Samaj. We have people who are presidents and secretaries, and perhaps some pundits who do not understand Dayanand, and would even go so far as to criticize Dayanand and to act contrary to Dayanand, because they have never read the manifesto of Dayanand and the Arya Samaj, which is the Satyat Prakash. I urge you, part of what we're doing here, we are explaining the Sanskaar Vidhi. And I'm asking you, you don't need to get the book that we wrote. I don't want to say I. It's too selfish to say I. I don't want you to go get the book, because I can't send the book from the US. It's too expensive. FedEx charges too much money. So you keep these notes. I am representing everything in that book in this teaching here, in this session here. You keep these notes. So here we begin today. Punsawan Sanskaar. And before we begin anything, Western writers and even some writers from India say the Punsawan Sanskaar aims at influencing the birth of a male child. And before we begin what we want to say, inherent in that explanation is a discrimination against the female child. That is why I need to close my door. Spare me a minute. The light is too much. Spare me a minute. If you're going to do a sanskar to have the birth of a male child, then when a female child comes, you'll want to abort. When you know you have a female child, either you abort the child, you kill that child, or you give the child up for adoption. In Haryana, when it used to be more females to males, children being born, now it is more males to females, because they abort the child when they have a gender reveal. I think that's what you call it. The minute they discover it's a female child, they abort the child. The mother-in-law would press the daughter-in-law to go for an abortion. And it happens in Haryana, in Punjab. I'm not sure about the statistics relative to Delhi. And that's part of the universal discrimination against women and girls. That's why the government of Prime Minister Modi said, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, save the girl child, teach the girl child. And they also had one, Jis ghar mein beti na ho, us ghar mein beti na do. The house that doesn't have a girl child, don't send your daughter to live there as a daughter-in-law. Listen to this. Jis ghar mein beti na ho, us ghar mein beti na do. And the universal discrimination against women in certain religions, which I wouldn't call the name of, a lady cannot be a priest. A lady cannot conduct religious ceremonies. A lady cannot lead. And what is the gateway to hell? And the answer is a woman. Narakasya kim dwaram? What is the dwar? The gateway to hell? I wouldn't tell you who said so, because the person who wrote that statement, I have a deep respect for him, and I don't want you to disrespect him. But you may know, but keep it to yourself. Narakasya kim dwaram? What is the gateway to hell? Nari, woman. So when Dayanand Saraswati came, and he knew that the Punsavan Sanskaar, people felt that the Punsavan Sanskaar, the second Sanskaar, was meant to create a male child. He said, are you people in your mind? You don't wait till to the second and third month to dictate the gender of the child. That gender is determined from the time of conception. And Dayanand didn't go to a science school to know that. He read that from the books on the Indian medical system called Ayurveda. So let's begin. Almost all commentators on the Sanskar traditions, both Indian and European, assert that Punsavan refers to the sacrament that secures the birth of a male child. It can be safely assumed that they understand the word pum in the word Punsavan, pum, to mean male. And in certain cases it does. However, a study of the purpose of the sanskar would not substantiate such a meaning for Punsavan. Neither can the meaning be reconciled with the fact that the sanskar is enjoined to be performed in the third month of pregnancy. There is no doubt that the gender of the fetus cannot be influenced as late as the third month of pregnancy. Medical theory affirms, all of this is part of my PhD thesis, medical theory affirms that during the second month, the growth of the embryo is rapid, and by the end of this period, it is about 30 millimeters in length. Even the layman could now identify it not merely as mammal, but as human, or at least as a higher primate. The face is fairly well formed, even to mouth and nostrils, and the external ear is taking shape. The tail diminishes after the 6th week and has almost disappeared by the 8th week. Elbow and knee flexures are well marked, and hand and foot exhibit digits, meaning the fingers and the toes. The third month witnesses an increasing humanness in the appearance of the embryo. About the 7th or 8th week, it becomes possible to distinguish the gender from the external genitalia. You can know whether it's going to be a male or a female. Somewhat earlier, these organs were present but indifferent in development, though the gender is actually determined at the time of fertilization, conception, and can be distinguished about the end of the first month by microscopic examination of the genital ridges, the structures which give rise to either ovary or testis. Rishi Dayanand and the meaning of Punsavana. In the light of the foregoing information, the definition offered by both medieval and modern commentators that the Punsavan Sanskar is a sacrament for male production is unjustifiable. It is here that Rishi Dayanand, with his etymological approach to Vedic definitions, attracts the attention of the research specialist. He defines Punsavan as the rite that ensures vigor and strength in the fetus. While other commentators, give me a minute here, while other commentators understand Pum to mean manhood, virility, manliness, The Rishi, resorting to etymology, translates it as vigor and strength from the Sanskrit verbal root pums, which means to crush and to grind. A reference to strength. The word pum should therefore mean the capacity to crush or grind, which refers to strength or vigor. The word savana in the word pun savana means the act of setting into motion, the act of impelling, the act of instigating, or the act of stimulating. Punsawan, therefore, would mean the act of stimulating or inspiring strength and vigor. And it stands to reason that a rite, meaning a ceremony, seeking to ensure strength in the fetus should be performed in the second or third month so as to avoid any miscarriage in the expectant woman. On the other hand, performing a rite to ensure the birth of a male child suggests unwarranted discrimination against the female gender, something the world order these days will never tolerate. The position adopted by Rishi Dayanand reflects a rational approach to the Sanskaar. Such rationality in purpose ensures continuity for the Sanskaar traditions in a rapidly changing world. On the other hand, let me pause. If Punsawan was only for a birth child, watch me. People said, no, we don't want that. Because if only boys are born, then who carries on the human race? We continue. Punsawan, the fetus and nourishment. When the partners know that a fetus has been conceived, the wife should restrict her diet. Rishi Dayanand says so. She should avoid any kind of intoxicants and purgatives. Alcohol, cigarettes, but I see many pregnant ladies, they still keep smoking. And now they're telling you, not the rishis, doctors are telling you, when some babies are born, they shake like this because during pregnancy, the mother took crack or cocaine or something like that. Rishi Dayanand is saying she should avoid any kind of intoxicants and things that are acidus or sour or dry or pungent. Don't eat these things. What should she eat? She should make use of milk, herbs. Nowadays, unfortunately, there's a growing movement against cow's milk, but we'll talk about that later on. She should make use of milk, herbs, rice, and some people tell you whole rice, whole grain, real brown rice is a high cereal. So Rishi Dayanand is saying she should make use of milk, herbs, rice, sweet yogurt, not sugary yogurt, sweet yogurt that's not sour. She should make use of, I remember when I was writing all of this, she should make use of milk, herbs, rice, sweet yogurt, grains, and vegetables. Such sattvic, meaning righteous food, the Rishi claims, helps to make the child healthy, intelligent, and endowed with a righteous nature. That's what the Sanskaar is all about. Now, there are two people I studied, and they were Germans, Kostler and Willy. But I'm taking out all the footnotes because I don't want to burden you with that. Kostler and Willy recommending practically the same diet for an expectant woman. Let me tell you something. The Germans, and Hitler called them the Aryans, the Germans were very near to middle-aged Indians in their choices and preferences. And so there's no doubt that Vede was there in Germany. In fact, let me tell you based on my research, when Dayanand wanted an authentic copy of the Vede, watch me, shamefully I'm saying, he had to send to Germany for it. It is no surprise that these people call themselves the Arya. They said Aryan, but it is no surprise that they call themselves the Arya people, and it is no surprise that they were the ones who had Vede when Dayanand Saraswati wanted Vede. So let's go back. Kostler and Willy recommending practically the same diet for an expectant woman says that as regards food, that's their statement, as regards food, a pregnant woman should have a very varied diet in which mineral elements, chiefly iron and calcium, predominate. These two elements, I don't know these things. I had to research these things. I don't have a family, and no child came in my life, so I wouldn't know. But the only reason I know a little bit is that when I was doing my research on the Sanskaar Vidhi, I just couldn't put prayer, PhD thesis. No external examiner is going to accept that. He will tell me you're writing a research paper. You're rewriting a doctoral dissertation. Go get yourself in order. And they reject your thesis. So I had to go do the research. Gurukul Kangri University Library was a well-stocked library. Famous for its library all over North India. And I went to Delhi University. They cannot class themselves with Gurukul Kangri University Library. So they're saying, as regards food, a pregnant woman should have a very varied diet in which mineral elements, chiefly iron and calcium, predominate. These two elements are indispensable to the formation of a child's structure. A considerable reserve of these two, calcium and iron, should also be allowed to accumulate in the mother's system, as the maternal milk, which is to nourish the newborn, is ordinarily very poor in calcium and iron. Western food specialists emphasize that a varied diet with a minimum of albuminoids and consisting principally of fruits and fresh vegetables is the appropriate one for the expectant mother and most suitable for the development of the embryo. This is what the Sanskaar is all about. It's not just saying swaha, making your ghee offerings and done. It requires you to have a background of information. Professor Gruber, another German scholar, Professor Gruber warns that it cannot be sufficiently emphasized how injurious the use and abuse of intoxicants is to the succeeding generation. The harmfulness of these substances manifests itself like that of other poisons, by a generally impaired vitality, by want of development, and diminished resistibility in the child. When some children are born, they have no resistibility, they have no stamina, they are bony, because when they were in here, they got no nourishment, especially in the form of calcium and iron. They got nothing. And she just smoked and smoked and smoked. She drank no milk. She ate no vegetables. She ate no fruits. She danced all night, carrying a baby. The harmfulness of these substances manifests itself. Here I am. The harmfulness of these substances manifests itself like that of other poisons, by a generally impaired vitality, by want of development and diminished resistibility in the child, and also especially by a severe derangement of the nervous system, which is apt to assume the most variable forms. As to say, why babies tremble when they are born. Look in the background. A lot of discussion surrounds the question of body intercourse. I didn't use the sex word. I have people who are elder to me, and my own big sister who is like my mother, and we don't use that word at home. Pardon me, that is our flawed upbringing. But I'm saying a lot of discussion surrounds the question of body intercourse during pregnancy. Rishi Dayanand vigorously opposes the practice, arguing that through this, the reproductive element is uselessly lost, the lives of the partners are shortened, and they are afflicted with diverse diseases. All efforts of both parents should now be spent in taking maximum care of the child in utero, meaning in the womb. There's a Latin term, in utero. Kostler and Willie assert that there is no doubt that uterine contractions, which accompany strenuous body intercourse, can provoke a miscarriage. I wish you can digest that statement. They argue, all of this is important. Rishi Dayanand talked of building a strong new generation. He never went to a medical college. The question, how did he know all these things? He read the books on Ayurveda. The same fight that is going on in India, Western trained Indian doctors are making a mockery of Ayurveda. One of my friends over here said, your Ayurveda says to drink cow urine. Yes, it does. It's a medication. You let Dr. Neeraj come here and tell you the medicinal value of cow urine. I drank it. And my brothers used to say, go wash yourself. They didn't know. Cow's urine, my Acharya Baldev ate dal, roti, dal, roti, no vegetables. But he drank purified, strained cow urine. And Acharya lived a long life. If cow urine was so bad, he might have collapsed when he was 55. No, but he didn't. They argue, they who? The Ayurvedic people argue that since it is a fact that female animals avoid all contact with the male while they bear their young, it would seem that nature itself is opposed to body intimacy during pregnancy. Rishi Dayanand says the minute he knows that a child is conceived, he should go to another room and sleep, not that room. The importance of Punsavan. By the way, we have 130 people. I thought we were only going to have 100. I welcome 130 people with us. The importance of Punsavan as a Sanskaar. The second and third months of pregnancy witness the fetus developing into human shape with the formation of the main parts of the fetal body. At this point in time, it is important for the mother in particular to take absolute care to avoid any miscarriage, resulting in the premature expulsion of the fetus. That's a thing many young mothers are suffering from. Third month and fourth month and even fifth month, they expel their babies. Several changes combined. Here we are. Several changes combined to cause her several discomforts. When she's giving birth to a child, several changes combine to cause her several discomforts. One, her abdomen begins to bulge. It's a big discomfort. I spoke to my mom once. Ma, when you were carrying me, were you uncomfortable? Yes, beta. That is why mothers, when sons and daughters misbehave, mothers say, I carried you for 9 months with so much discomfort. And that's what you're doing now? Her abdomen begins to bulge. Please forgive me for saying these things, but I'm discussing Sanskaar. With the expanding uterus pushing upwards and sideways, all the organs which normally fill the abdominal cavity. The intestines are compressed. I believe she suffers from constipation. The intestines are compressed and their specific movements, so important during digestion, are hampered. In such circumstances, strenuous activity, especially strenuous body contact with its attendant contractions, can provoke a miscarriage. Lack of proper nourishment, especially lack of iron and calcium, will result in tremendous harm to the fetal body in its course of development. The Punsavan Sanskaar, aimed at invigorating the fetus, encourages the mother to pay maximum attention in avoiding a possible miscarriage and in aiding the healthy development and growth of the limbs of her baby. So Punsavan is not saying, oh, Magnaye Swaha, that's part of it, but that's not the whole picture. Om Agnaye Swaha, Om Somaya Swaha. There's a lot of medical consideration. There's a lot of consideration focused on physiology, anatomy, your body makeup, what happens on the inside, what you take in, what you give out, what you listen to, what you hear, what you see, what you taste, what you touch. All of this is involved in Sanskaar. And brothers and sisters, at the time that I wrote this, in 1984, that was when I submitted this thesis, that's all I could have had at that time. Perhaps if I were to devote my energies and rewrite this doctoral dissertation, I may add new research, but I don't have the time. Watch me, everybody. I'm working on the Satya Sagar. Here you are. I'm working on this. I don't have time for other things. That's why I hardly call people these days. I hardly call because every time I get lost in a long conversation, I'm taking away from what I'm writing. I'm not trying to tell you I'm a good guy. I'm telling you I'm very busy. See, Mantone and Sanskaar. So I know you have you're muted, but in your I want you to say it. Punsawan. That PUN is originally PUM, but because of the following S, which is dental, that M becomes an N. Look at me again. The word is, let me write it here. The word is Pum Sawana. Watch this. Pum Sawana. But this S, which is a dental sound, causes this labial sound to become an N, which is also dental. Savana, instilling, pum, energy, vigor. And I have no qualms in saying that it was Rishi Dayanand who placed in proper semantic perspective, meaning perspective, the word Punsavana. Now let's go to Simantonen. This one too is a problematic sanskar. A lot of people believe that this sanskar was performed to ward off evil spirits. So evil spirits don't come around the mother and harm the fetus. They would perform this sanskar. But I'm going to tell you different today. And who am I? I'm nobody. Rishi Dayanand will tell you different today. Simanta Unnayana. That's the word. Simantonayan is really Simanta Unnayana. I'll tell you what it means in a minute. As in the case of the Punsawan Sanskar, a lot of doubt shrouds the true meaning of the term Simantonayana and the true purpose of this Sanskar. All commentators other than Dayanand aver, they give their opinion, they state that the meaning of Simantonayan is parting the lady's hair. And it does mean that. Watch me. Unnayan means doing this. Take a comb and doing this. And putting a mang. And this mang is called Simanta. This mang, Hindi, Bhojpuri is mang, but in Sanskrit, Simanta. And Unnayan means taking a comb and doing the hair this way. All commentators other than Dayanand aver that the meaning of Simantonaya Nayana is parting of the woman's hair, and the purpose of the sanskara is invariably the same. Both Rajbali Pandey and Ram Gopal, two people whom I studied, observed that one of the reasons for performing such a hair parting ceremony was to ward off the attacks of evil spirits. Rishi Dayanand disagrees with both writers. The Simantonian Sanskar, says the Rishi, is that sacrament through which the mind of the expectant woman is made satisfied and healthy, and the fetus made firm and noble, so that it may develop day after day. And I'll show you how it means that. Such a definition, even though coming from the pen of a famous etymologist, calls for further clarification. A researcher needs to be fair and not accept blindly. He cannot be influenced by blind, superstitious, and one-sided belief. He must be universal and honest. Now, Simantonayan, what does it mean and what is its purpose? There is no doubt that Simanta Unnayana does mean, at the least, in its very ordinary sense, a parting of the woman's Simanta, the middle of her head. But the study of the Indian medical treatise called Ayurveda establishes another meaning for Simanta. The author of the Ayurveda writes, Panchasandhayaha Shirasi Vibhaktaha Simantaha. According to the foregoing, this authority I just quoted, Simanta is a term referring to the 5 sutures in the brain, taken in togetherness, taking together the 5 sutures in the brain. The whole thing is called Simanta. And interestingly, the European Sanskrit lexicographer, meaning somebody who wrote a dictionary, the European Sanskrit dictionary writer, Monier Williams, records native lexicographers as explaining the term semen to mean a suture in the skull, while anta, as the European lexicographer points out, anta means the whole amount. Vedanta means the whole of the Ved. Vedanta means the whole of the Ved. Simanta, simnaha antaha should therefore mean the whole of the human skull, the whole brain, the complete brain, including the faculty of thinking. And unnayana, besides meaning the act of separating, also yields the meaning of the act of rising upwards. How do you get that, Satish? What this word here? This N is actually a T. And nayana comes from ni verbal root. So to lead upwards. That is what etymology does for me and you. If I were to look up Monia Williams, unnayana will mean the act of separating the hair and making a middle parting. But when you go to etymology and you get ut, which means up, and you get ni, which means lead, it would mean the act of leading upwards, the act of leading upwards, the act of elevating, the act of promoting, the act of increasing. So simanton nayana, on the strength of etymology, refers to the act of promoting or elevating the capacity of the brain or the mind. And interestingly, it is at this time that the mind is going to be designed by nature inside. Hence, the justification for the definition of the term offered by Rishi Dayanand. While one cannot dismiss the definition offered by other commentators as incorrect, still, one can hardly doubt that the Rishi's definition is more in line with the purpose of the Sanskaar. A study of the significance of the Simantonaya rites will substantiate the meaning and purpose of the sacrament as explained by the Rishi. The whole Sanskaar is meant to increase the happiness and mental capacity of the expectant mother, and you will see that in the Sanskaar when it's coming up just now. Again, the whole Sanskaar is meant to increase the happiness and mental capacity of the expectant mother so that the mind of the child can be positively influenced while in the process of being designed. Watch. There's a passing on from source to target. Whatever the mother thinks, that's what is going into the currently being formed mind of the child. Whatever the mother eats passes on. Whatever the mother thinks passes on. Whatever the mother says passes on. And if the mother gets a kick on her side from her loving husband, a kick, and it has happened, watch me, that too passes on. Slap her, passes on. Curse at her, passes on. Let me read this again. From here, the whole Sanskaar is meant to increase the happiness and mental capacity of the expectant mother so that the mind of the child can be positively influenced while in the process of being formed. The Sushruta Sanghita, a book on Ayurveda, states that the mind of the child begins to be formed in the 5th month of pregnancy. And it is at this time that the Grihya Sutras, books and Sanskaras, and the Sanskar Vidhi of Rishi Dayanand enjoin the Sanskar to be performed. Importance of Simantonen. While the Punsavan is directly concerned with the physical development of the fetal body, the Simantonen is aimed at taking care of the mental development of the baby in utero. It is primarily for this reason that the rishis who caused the culture of the sanskars to evolve, they sought to have the mother's mind made extremely happy so that a lasting and positive impression can be made on the baby's mind currently being formed. The influence of the mother's body and mind on that of the child is tremendous. And this fact is borne out too well by Professor Orth, another German, Professor Orth of Berlin, who says it has been asserted that scars in pregnant women resulting from injuries have shown themselves in analogous positions on the bodies of the children subsequently born. Similar experimental observations have also been reported, and I quoted where it is from. Kostler and Willie have also given some credence to the statement in the following words. Another equally strange phenomenon of pregnancy is the belief that an object which makes a strong impression on an expectant mother can affect her unborn baby's physique. Such is the case with, I wouldn't go into that. And such influences do occur in the second half of pregnancy. And that such influences do occur in the second half of pregnancy is borne out again by Professor Orth, German, who further says that by far the greatest number of cases of maternal impressions relate to women who have reached the second half of the pregnancy, or at least appeared when the body of the fetus has already received its form. I wouldn't tell you what time. I'm running out of time now. It's 49. I'm going to ask you to read this on your own. Why is it done? There are 3 different times it is to be done, the sanskar. Why? You can read this. It's not difficult. A summary, prenatal hereditary sanskaras. You will read that on your own. It's easy. It's easy. If I had time, I would have read it. Now we begin the actual sanskar. Let's hope I can finish. Atha punsavana sanskara vidhi. The purpose of the sanskar is aimed at instilling vigor in the fetus. We said that. It is not aimed at creating a male child. Why? Because at this time, the gender of the child is already determined. Time of performance, you will read that. The procedure, you adopt the priest, you sip achmana, you do Vishwani Deva, you do Swasti Vachan, Om Agnimide Purohitam, you do Shanti Karana, Om Shamna Indragni Bhavatam Avobhi, you do Havan, and you go up to Om Agne Somaya Prajapate Indraya, after which you do the following. Principal offerings. These are specific. Principal offerings means those offerings that are specific to the sanskar. Ghrita Ahuti, offering ghee. The couple offers ghee with the following mantras. I'm going to chant it, so when Mala sends you the video, you can learn. Om Ate Garbho Yonimetu Puman Bana Ive Shudhim Aviro Jayatam Putraste Dashamasya Swaha. O lady, unto your womb let a strong fetus come with ease. It's there already, but let it stay there with ease, like an arrow to a quiver. You know how you put an arrow into a quiver? It fits in very, very snugly. May a heroic child be born to you, O lady, fully grown in 10 lunar months, which corresponds to 9 solar months. O Magniretu Prathamo Devatanam Sosyai Prajam Munchatu Mrityupashat Tadayam Raja Varuno Numanyatam Yatheyam Stri Pautramagham Narodat. Fire is principal among the 5 natural elements. May the warmth of fire, it can also be house heat, because it's basically fire. It can be the heat that comes from the boiler system. May the warmth of fire be accessible to save this lady's baby from death caused by miscarriage. If a lady trembles in cold, chances are she can miscarry. May the warmth of fire be accessible to save this lady's baby from death caused by miscarriage. Let her husband, while he manages the home, listen to this, let the husband, while he manages the home, be agreeable and pleasant to her, that she may never stress out and miscarry her baby. You kick her, slap her, curse her, and tell her she's low while carrying you. Oh man, you are born as a child in her. She's carrying you. And you tell her she's low, and she'll go in a corner and cry and burn. Why do I have to carry this man's child for 9 months and suffer so much humiliation? Now look at this. He touches her heart. The husband puts his hand on her heart, not on her body, on her heart, and he chants, Om Yatte Susime Hridaye Hitamantaha Prajapatau Manyeham Mam Tad Vidwansam Maham Pautramagham Niyam. My dear, look at what he says to her. He doesn't kick her. He doesn't shove her. He doesn't slap her. Look what he says, my dear. Oh my gosh, you look beautiful with your well-parted hair. It's an indication. I wouldn't say it. But it means you must have well-parted hair. That's all I'm going to say. I think you know what I want to say. I'm fully aware of the joy lodged in your heart while you bear this child. This is what he tells her. My dear, I'm fully aware of the joy lodged in your heart while you bear this child. May I never suffer the distress of losing our child. What I really wanted to say, there's some people, when you look at them from the back, you don't know if they're male or female because they carry the same cut. Some ladies carry the same haircut that boys carry. If they're sick, I would understand. My mom had psoriasis and my didi had to cut her hair. That's understandable. But you know what? There's a lot of feminine charm in you growing your hair long. And not only that, when you comb it tight in a bundle or in one of those things, we used to call it mali. I don't know, a bun, tight in a bun. And when you present yourself with some feminine charm. Drop the male charm. There's a confusion between the genders now. May I never suffer the distress. Don't criticize me for passing judgment. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just telling you what the books say. You can do what you want. May I never suffer the distress of losing our child. Om Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagre Bhutasya Jatah Patirek Asit Sadadhar Prithivim Dyamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. When you chant this mantra, don't bring this ya and join it here. Don't say Kasmai Deva Yahavisha Vidhema. You must say Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. In the beginning, God's golden illumined womb was present to give birth to the universe. You know what they're referring to? That super packed giant cell that's blazing because of intense heat. That is God's illumined womb. And it's golden because it's yellow in color. In the beginning, God's golden illumined womb was present to give birth to the universe, because when the Big Bang took place, they say chunks of that original super packed giant cell were flung out far into space. They became ice. Some were not flung far, just near to the epicenter. They're still hot. But at least one such planet is at an equidistance that has a balance between heat and cold, so that life could be born. So it is saying, in the beginning, God's golden illumined womb was present to give birth to the universe. God is known to have been the sole protector of whatever was created. He lends sustenance. And you will ask, well, how did he create? Watch me. All that chaos, all the chaos that was there after the bang had to be steadied to make up cosmos. Those are two words. If you go on Google, you'll read of chaos, when everything was chaotic, and when all of that calmed down and it became cosmos. He's known to have been the sole protector of all this chaos to transform into cosmos. He lends sustenance to both heaven and earth after they were created. Let us, oh my dear beloved, let us with devotion worship that Lord who gives happiness to all in having created this world. Om adbhyah sambritaha prithivya rasatcha Vishwakarmanah samavartatagre tasya tvashta vidadhadrupameti tanmartyasya devatvam ajanamagre. In the beginning, the universe came into being, brought together from the combined essences of water, earth, and fire. In giving form to the universe, the divine architect, God, expresses his creativity. Since the beginning of human creation, this creativity has been the divine trait inherent in all wives and mothers. Let me give you a little story. After the first set of human beings were allowed to evolve through the asexual process of creation, God told woman on earth, Strihi Brahma Babhuvitha, oh lady Stri, you are now Brahma. You are now to create, Brahma means the creator. You are now to create the second and succeeding generations from your womb. That's why the mantra is saying, since the beginning of human creation, this creativity has been the divine trait inherent in all wives and mothers. That's why they say that between husband and wife, the wife is closer to God more than the husband, because she's Brahma. Rigved statement, Strihi Brahma Babhuvitha. Brahma also means godly. Brahma means wise. You are godly. You are the procreator, and you are scholarly. Garbhashaya sparshanam. Now he touches her womb, not her womb. At the end of the sanskar, the husband takes his wife into their private room. I would advise in the public so people can see. And he puts his hand on her abdomen as if to touch a child. And he says, Om Suparnosi Garutman. Lovely statement. Trivritte Shiro Gayatram Chakshur Brihadrathantare Pakshav Stoma Atma Chandansi Angani Yajumshi Namam Samate Tanur Vamadevyam Yajna Yajyam Pucham Dhishnyaha Shapha Suparnosi Garutman Divam Gacha Swahapata. I love this beautiful. Oh child, look at the standard. Look at the tone that the father establishes for his baby. He says, oh child, you're like a superior bird with beautiful wings. What are those wings? Look at it right here. Look at me. Power and speed. Those are your two wings. Oh child, you are a superior bird with two beautiful wings. When you are born, as a bird will teach you to exercise power and speed. Watch. Let me translate it for you. And for you to go straight to mukti, divam gacha, go straight to mukti, and swahapata, earn the bliss that you didn't get in your last birth. You beat that. All of you Hindus, Arya Samaji and Sanatani, beat that. No childbirth giving system in the Western world can match this. And you people give the sanskar up. You don't even know you have a child in you until about 3 months. And then not you, but our Western mothers drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes and crack and all of that. Oh child, you are like a superior bird with beautiful wings. The capacity for knowledge, action, and worship is present in your brain. The knowledge taught in the Gayatri directs your vision. Dhiyo naha prachodaya. Directing your vision. Power and speed are your two wings that propel your actions. The worship of God motivates your soul. It wouldn't motivate the soul of an animal. The meters of the Yajurved energize your body limbs. The Samved verses realized by Rishi Vamadev harmonize your body into one composite whole. Oh my God, imagine the father telling his child, injunctions and prohibitions make up your tail. What to do, what not to do. The sacrificial altars, the Vedi, like your feet, give you mobility in life. Yajna is what is meant to give you mobility in life. Oh, child, you are an extraordinary bird with such powerful resources just mentioned in 1 to 9. 1 to 9, here it is. In 1 to 9, here's 1 to 9. With these powerful resources, fly to the realm of mukti. And you gain bliss, child. And this is what she does. And this doesn't make her less than him. She now pronounces the following, and she touches the feet of her husband. And she says, Dayananda Gotra Shubhada. If you want, you can choose another Rishi, but I only know of this one, Dayanand. And this is my choice. This is not written in the Sanskaar Vidhi. You want to do Dayanand, you do Dayanand. You want to do another Rishi, that's your choice. Om Dayananda Gotra Shubhada. And she mentions her name Indira Namnim. Aham Bhavantam Abhivadayami. I, Indira, O Dhanraj, I, Indira, consider myself to be in the lineage of Rishi Dayanand Saraswati, in the lineage of Atri Muni, in the lineage of Bharadwaj Rishi. I believe in Vedic Satya Sanatan Dharma, and I bow to you. Then she goes and touches the feet of all her senior family relations, and they bless her. And the sanskar is brought to an end by doing Agnaye Somaya Prajapate Indraya, these ahutis. Then Om Bhuragnaye Swaha, Om Yadasya Karmano, Om Prajapate Swaha, Om Sarvam Vai Purnam, and Vamadevya Ganam. At this time, the Yajman and his Dharapatni present Dakshina to the Purohits, the musicians, and any other persons worthy of respect. And then they have the food distributed. And the word of caution is, live a disciplined life. Don't go into her room and try to understand what I'm saying. I can't say more. The wife is now carrying her child. Everything she does impacts the child. She should watch her food and drink, watch her words and thoughts, watch her feelings and emotions, watch her actions and movements. And the husband must abstain from seeking to have body relations with her. I'm sorry, I can't go to the Simantonian. I lost time. I will do it next week. I want to respect the sanctity of the hour that you gave me. So, Mal, did you get photographs?
Yes, Guruji, I did.
Okay, so I thought I might have finished the Simantonian. Here it is. Here is the Sanskaar. But unfortunately, people in Europe and South Africa and all those places, they need to go sleep, and I need to be respectful. So I am going to take this off. Please don't be upset that I didn't finish the second Sanskaar. You will get it next week. Let me do the attendance. We had 133, I think, but some people have left, I believe, connectivity issues. We have Mala, we have Adesh, Florida, Ajit Ramadas, Tasmania, Almail, Amrita Prasad, Amrita Singh, Anup Basdeo, RT Mauritius. I don't know who is ASAS X00TD. Please change it to your proper name. We have Pandit Abhano, Pandit Bharat, I believe. Bharat, is that you? Can you please put Pandit Bharat? If that's you. Is that you, Bharat? Then we have Bharat Bhushan, Bhisham Dindayal, London, Brahmachari Yogesh, Chandravati Saran, Chetan Chattu, Chitra Singh, Turkson Kaikos Rani. Then we have Dato Basdeo, Devanand, Deepak. Oh, Pandit Deepak Raman is with us. Pandit Deepak ji, take 10 sessions and summarize your feelings about this class. You didn't come for many weeks.
Yes, this is a.
I can't hear you, Pandit Deepak.
I am learning a lot in these classes. Are you hearing me now?
Barely, but I'll repeat what you said. I am learning a lot in these classes. Any second sentence?
The psychological framework into which the Sanskar falls is very profound.
The psychological framework in which this Sanskar evolves is very profound. Thank you, Pandit Deepak. God bless you. You're a scholar. Now, you all have to give these things out. This is the last time I'm teaching this. Then we go to Dhan Kumari Singh. She's a Pandita. Then we have Dhanraji, another Pandita, Dr. Rajneesh. My doctor, when I go to New Zealand, he's my doctor. He closes his clinic for 1 hour to listen to this. Another Dr. Kaushalya from Vekanam, Dr. Nicole Bisesa, Brahmachari Guru Govind, Pandita Gayatri, Bhai Grayson, Pandit Hansraj. Bear with me, don't go away. Bhai Harichan Ramu, Hema Narayan, Hema Mosi, Hemi Punwasi. I believe my Didi is Indira Sukraj, and there's another Indira. I think it's Costa Rica, if I'm not mistaken. Indra Ramprasad, in Pandita Indravati. Pandita Indravati, please put Pandit up. Jag Prakash, the London Pandit. Jagdish M. Haripal, Devi Jaiwanti, Jaswant, South Africa. Mata Jasodhara Prasad, Jai Kid, Jitendra Abhi, Pandit Jiwan. Pandit Jiwan, please put Pandit in front of your name. Pandita Kamla Naidu. Oh, our leader, Bhai Krishan and Bahin Lalita. Then we have Bahin Kiran Sundar, New Zealand. Krishna Mahato, Lakshman, the Lakshman family, 4 of them. Lakshmi Baburam, Lavaraj Kumar, New Zealand. I wonder if Bahin Catherine is here too. Pandita Leani, Lingas, very good. Madhu Varshane, Pandita Madhu Varshane, Bahin Mahanta Sohan, Matarishwa Rao, Fiji, no, Brisbane, Medhavani, his niece, Meena Singh, Toronto. She lost her mother-in-law. And if you go on this site, please give her your best regards. Moksha, Botswana, Pandit Narad from Trinidad, Gurukul student. Pandit Naveen Dubey, Pandit in training. Nirvani Singh, Pandita in training. Padmini Prasad, she's a Pandita in training. Pandit Sachin Mutu, Pandita Sunita, Pandit Ricky Rajesh Budhai. Great commendation for the way he officiated his cousin's funeral. Prakash Gaurinath, Prakash Priyam. Don't go away. Prem Cheta Vancouver. Priya Mahavir, Pandit Chan Singh, Pandit Jiwan, Pandit Lavaraj, they're coming back. Pandit Radhe Ramdas, Pandita Sai, Pandita Tara Sir Kisun, Pandita Indrauti came back. Pandit C.B. Prasad Trinidad, Pandit Chabi Guyana, Pandita Pushpa Lal, Bhai Rabinath, great student of Sanskrit and now working on a workbook to make the textbook simpler. Bahin Radhika Gokul, Dr. Raj Bhalla, Pandit Ramesh C. Prasad, Pandit Ram Naresh Connectedy, Pandit Ravi Motilal, Rawan from Pakistan, Renu Bhatia, Renu Seru, Jammu Kashmir, Renuka Bansi, Rishiram Sadhu, Pandit Rishiram Sadhu, young Pandit in training, Rishabh Sharma, my grandson and Lavaraj Kumar's grandson, that's Rishabh Sharma, Ritesh Ravi Singh, Pandits in making. Where are they? Hold a minute. And my granddaughter, Riya Sharma, Rose Budhai, Samadarshan Rao from Fiji, Sandesh Pandit in training, Sandra Ramphal, Sang's iPad, that's by Sangraj from Sydney, Sarojini Murthy, and I believe his Dharampatni is with him, Phul Bhauji, Sarojini Murthy, Rishikesh, Sasha Prasad, Pandit Sat Sarju, Pandita Sati, Ramshakal, Satish and Shanta Sharma, son and mother, very good. No. Satish and Shanta Sharma might be someone else. Satish Dubey is the Pandit. Pandita Sharda Ramsevak. Sheila Prasad, I don't recognize that name. Pandit Shiv Shivanan. Shiv Sohan is with us. God bless you, Shiv. I'm very happy to see you here. With your Dharampatni, of course. And tell us when you'll have your third child so we can advise you. Shobha, Pandita Shobha, Pandita Srimati Panchu, Pandita Somwati Das, Sunil Ji from Trinidad, he lost his Dharampatni a month ago. Pandita Sunila Sundar, Pandit Surajpal Ramjas, originally from Guyana, but claiming to be an Australian citizen. Surajpal Sumer, Pandita Tejwati, Bhai Tushar Shah, Pandit Ushar and Pandita Amrita, Pandita Usha Thakur, Pandita Vedavati Mahavir, Pandit Bahin Vijay Manohar, Pandit Vijay Umaras, Pandit Vikrant Ahuja, young Pandit in training, Vineet Raj, my nephew, by Lavaraj's nephew, Pandita Vinita Ram Khilawan, Pandit Vishnu Ram Sarup, Pandit Yudhishthir Harindranath, Pandit Yogeshwar Narayan, and I came to the end of the list. 9 people left us. We now have 120. Before you go, listen carefully before you go. On the Bhai Bhishamji, can you please, if you're still with us, can you extend the invitation? I don't know. I think it's late for him. He might have. Bhai Bhish, are you with us, London? Bhai Bhisham, London? He must have left. I'm giving 3 lectures on Zoom, sponsored by the Caribbean Hindu Society in Brixton, London, the UK. And it is 17th, 18th, and 19th of June, 7 p.m. London time, 2 p.m. New York time. It's on my Zoom. Same log on details. I'm inviting all of you to join us. With that said, I'm now going to shut this down and say namaste. Namaste, everybody.